Hey there, welcome back to Chapter 5. In Chapter 4, we were doing some screen printing on clear plastic, and in this chapter, we're actually going to do a combination of some of the things that we've already done, but then adding using the texture paste with the stencil. So let's get started. This time, I want you to grab one of those white divider pages. This is a chipboard divider, and what's awesome about this is that it's really nice and heavy, so it's not going to warp at all as you start adding layers of stuff to your surface. I have a little bit of book paper, and I'm kind of going to do what we did back on the back cover again, and that's just kind of give myself a little bit of background. And here again, I'm going to use the opaque magic medium, and I'm going to use another makeup sponge here. And really all I'm going to do is add a little bit of book paper to give me some interest on what would otherwise just be kind of a white background. So I kind of like to put it near the edge. The opaque magic medium acts a little bit like a Mod Podge. So you do want to make sure that you're getting it below. I actually kind of like that. I kind of stuck it down and then picked it up a little bit, and now I kind of have a ripped area. It's kind of cool. I think that one of the intimidating things about mixed media stuff is like just that. If something goes wrong, you just kind of keep going. You can cover it up or just make the most out of it. Okay, so I've just added a little bit of book paper using only the opaque magic medium, and now the next thing that I want to do is just kind of add some color to the background. I'm just going to use what I have here already, and so yet again I'm going to use my cranberry and also some of my blush. Now I wanted to mention one other way, and if you go ahead and add like kind of a layer of the opaque medium, then when you spray right onto your surface, you can actually do blending right on your surface, and you're not kind of mixing and then blending. So it kind of skips a step. So that's something to kind of try and experiment with as well. As you can see, I don't get as much variation when I do it that way. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and dry this first layer. All right, and I'm just going to build a little bit more on top. And so the reason why I did that was just to kind of give myself some variety, so it looked like I had some different strokes going on. And originally, I didn't even add any color kind of in this middle section. So it just kind of is up to you how you want this background to look. Okay, that's nice and clean, nice and dry now. I'm going to go ahead and remove some of the pieces that are hanging off the edge. Okay, now earlier in the last chapter, we set aside our art screens. And what I wanted to pull them out again so that you can see how great they are and how reusable they are. So I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did in the last chapter. And I like to pull the ink toward me. And so if you need to move your project so that it's easier for you to reach it, in other words, I'm kind of working with my project upside down which just makes it a little bit more comfortable for me, then you can do that. Oh, this is kind of cool. So my surface might not have been all the way dry, and I have lifted up a piece of it with the adhesive, lifted up a little piece of the book paper. So I'm going to just have to kind of scrub that to get that to come off. But I actually think it looks pretty cool. So I'm going to roll with it. All right. Now, just like I said before, you want to make sure that you jump right into cleaning it off after you use it, after you know that you're done using it for a few minutes anyway. And I'm going to scrub off this front. And it might take a little extra scrubbing to scrub off that piece of paper that's now kind of adhered itself to the back of my screen. The nerve of it, right? All right, and as I've mentioned in the last chapter, you want to make sure that you dry it with the sticky side up. So I'm just going to set that aside. And then my plan was to go in and add the title word on there again. And I'm going to just position it kind of right there in the middle. I'm going to need a little bit more of the screen ink. The cool thing about the screening is that this can very easily be done on fabric, as it can on chipboard or clear acetate or a wall, clothing, really anything. So you can do cool stuff with them. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and wipe this one clean too. I'm done using it for now. And it looks like it did lift off a little bit of the book paper, but I kind of like, this is an example of those accidents, things that you can't really plan, but then you learn kind of a cool technique from it as you're going along that creative journey. So you can see here that as my screen has pulled it up, it's left this really cool exposed area that I'm going to leave because I like it. All right. Our next step is that in addition to the screen printing portion is we're going to add some texture paste with a stencil. So you can really use any stencil that you choose. And the fun thing about the texture paste and the screen printing, or the texture paste and the stencils, is that you just get such a great textured result, and it's so quick and so easy. So I'm going to take this metallic texture paste yet again, and really I'm just going to kind of add it here in the bottom of my page. And just like we did on the very front cover, you want to kind of apply the ink and then scrape it off. All right. So here I just have kind of a real simple area, but it's really easy to kind of just add in little dots here and there. Now I'll give you a little tip here as well. Before it dries, it's really easy to remove any of them. So if you look closely, I just got on my hand, and I'm going to go ahead and remove this so that I can use this as, so I removed the excess texture paste so I can use this as a tool to remove it from any place that I don't want it on my project. So for example, if you look closely right here, see how I kind of have a bunch of little half circles, didn't really transfer completely? I can go in and very easily kind of pick that off, or maybe I didn't want my texture paste to go, you know, all the way down or in one place. It's a really easy way to kind of pick it up still while it's wet. And then once it's dry, it becomes very hard, and you wouldn't be able to remove it. So I'm going to go ahead and dry this now with my heat tool. you do want to make sure that you're also cleaning your stencils very soon after you use them with the texture paste, because it will harden on your stencil and it can ruin them. All right, so like I did before, I like to go in kind of to create a consistency throughout the book, is once again kind of add that brown edging with the ink and maybe a little bit of extra texture stamping with my script stamp. I do recommend that you use a clear block. That way you can see where you're stamping. That helps a lot. All right, so once you've added a little bit of distressing and stamping, you are done with chapter 5.